Hey everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the Nexys Energy Podcast. We're kicking things off with a deep dive specifically for all you awesome affordable housing property managers out there in Connecticut. Keeping those energy costs down for your residents while also, doing right by the planet. It's a tough balancing act. But what if I told you there's a way to do both? That's what we're unpacking today.
That's right, we're talking solar energy. Specifically, how Nexys Energy is making it accessible to affordable housing communities right here in Connecticut. It's really a microcosm of a much larger global shift towards renewable energy.
Okay, let's unpack this global shift thing. I was reading this report from RMI, a pretty big deal in the energy world, called the Renewable Revolution. And basically they're saying this decade is going to be absolutely huge EE for changing how we power well everything.
It really is a pivotal moment. And one of the most fascinating things the RMI report highlights is that this revolution isn't some pie-in-the-sky idea anymore. Solar and battery technology have gotten so much better and cheaper that they're giving traditional energy sources a run for their money, sometimes even beating them on price.
That's where Nexys Energy comes in. It's like they took this global trend and said, how do we make this work in Connecticut, especially for affordable housing?
And what's remarkable is they're making it happen by removing one of the biggest hurdles to going solar: the cost. Nexys Energy is providing solar and battery backup systems at zero cost to property owners.
Zero cost. I mean, that sounds amazing, but how does that even work?
It's a really innovative approach that sets them apart from traditional financing options. You've probably heard of Connecticut's CPACE program, right? It's a great program. But it requires property owners to take on debt and list lease to finance the solar installation. That can be a major barrier, especially for affordable housing providers with tight budgets.
So Nexys Energy sidesteps that whole debt thing completely.
Completely. They handle the entire process from installation to maintenance. And property owners don't have to shell out a dime up front or worry about any ongoing expenses. It's a pretty incredible deal.
Okay, so that's huge for property owners. But what about the people actually living in these units, the tenants? How do they benefit?
That's where it gets really interesting. Think about it. Tenants in affordable housing are often the ones hit hardest by high energy bills. With Nexys Energy's program, they could see their electricity bills drop by 10 to 20% annually.
Wow, that's a significant chunk of change, especially for families who are already stretching every dollar.
It's about more than just saving money, though. It's about energy equity, which is a key theme in that RMI report we talked about. It's about making sure everyone, regardless of their income, can benefit from the transition to clean energy.
And it's not just about the cost savings, right? You mentioned battery backup systems. Those seem pretty crucial, especially for vulnerable folks in affordable housing. What if the power goes out?
That's a great point. A power outage can be a major disruption, especially for seniors, people with disabilities, or families with young children. It can even be a safety issue. With these battery backups, residents have a reliable power source even when the grid goes down.
So it's about peace of mind and knowing they're covered in an emergency. It aligns with what RMI calls community resilience, right? This idea of making communities stronger and more able to bounce back from tough situations.
Exactly. Nexys Energy's approach really hits on both those critical aspects: affordability and resilience.
Okay, so we've talked about the why, but let's get into the how. How does Nexys actually pull all of this off? I know they lay out a pretty clear process in their materials. Can you walk us through it step by step?
Absolutely. It all starts with what they call site analysis. Basically, Nexys Energy comes in and evaluates the property to figure out the best way to install the solar panels. They consider things like the available space, the roof structure, and the overall energy needs of the building.
So it's not one size fits all. They tailor the approach to each property. Do they only do roof installations, or are there other options?
They've got options. It could be a roof-mounted system, carports covered in solar panels, or even a ground-mounted array. It really depends on what works best for each site. Then, once they've figured out the best setup, they move on to project development. And this is where Nexys Energy really takes the wheel and steers the whole thing.
So for property managers who are maybe feeling overwhelmed by the whole solar thing, this is where Nexys steps in and handles the nitty-gritty, right?
Exactly. They take care of everything: permits, zoning, connecting to the grid, all those bureaucratic hurdles that can be a real headache. They make it super easy for property owners.
That sounds like a huge weight off their shoulders.
It really is. And then once all the planning is done, they move on to the site lease agreement.
Okay. I'm curious about this. How does the lease agreement work? What's the deal for the property owner?
Well, in a nutshell, Nexys Energy leases the space for the solar installation from the property owner. So they basically rent the roof for whatever space is being used. The best part is that Nexys takes on all the responsibility for operating and maintaining the system.
So the property owner doesn't have to worry about anything.
Nope. They just sit back, relax, and enjoy the benefits of clean energy and lower costs. It's a pretty sweet deal for everyone involved.
This whole lease model is really interesting. It seems like they've thought of everything to make this as simple as possible for property owners. But what about the actual installation? How do they ensure it's done right?
That's where the contractor selection phase comes in. Nexys is incredibly careful about choosing the right people for the job. They have a rigorous process for vetting contractors to make sure they're experienced, qualified, and meet all the local standards.
So they're not just picking names out of a hat. They want to make sure these solar installations are top-notch and built to last.
Absolutely. Quality is a top priority for them. And that brings us to the final stage, final development, installation, and maintenance.
It seems like Nexys is truly a one-stop shop. They handle everything from A to Z.
They do. They supervise the entire project, making sure everything is done correctly and to their high standards. And then they don't just disappear once the panels are up. They handle all the ongoing maintenance to make sure the system is running smoothly and efficiently. It's a really comprehensive approach.
That's great for peace of mind. What about property owners who might be concerned about their roofs? Especially with a roof-mounted system. Do they have to worry about their warranties?
Not at all. Nexys Energy has that covered too. They ensure that everything they do complies with existing roof warranties, so property owners can be confident that their investment is protected. It's really remarkable how Nexys Energy has streamlined this whole process for property owners. They've taken what can be a complex and daunting undertaking and made it incredibly straightforward.
It's like they've created this smooth on-ramp to a cleaner, greener future for these communities. And they're showing that affordable housing doesn't have to be synonymous with high energy costs.
Exactly. They've taken this global trend of renewable energy becoming more affordable and turned it into something real and tangible for the people who need it most.
And they're doing it in a way that makes sense financially and environmentally. It's a win-win on so many levels.
When you think about the ripple effects of this, it's pretty amazing. When tenants in affordable housing start seeing their energy bills go down, it frees up more of their income for other essential things.
Things like groceries, healthcare, maybe even putting a little extra aside for their kids' education.
Yeah.
Things that can really make a difference in their lives. It goes way beyond just saving a few bucks on electricity. It's about improving their overall quality of life.
Absolutely. And from a bigger picture perspective, reducing energy consumption in affordable housing has a positive impact on the environment. It helps lower our carbon footprint and contributes to a cleaner, healthier planet for everyone.
So it's a solution that tackles economic, social, and environmental challenges all at once.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so powerful.
It really is a multifaceted approach. And, it's exciting to think about the potential for this model to spread to other communities across the country.
Imagine if every state had a program like Nexys Energy, making clean, affordable energy accessible to all its residents. That would be a game changer.
It would be transformative. And I think what Nexys Energy is doing here in Connecticut is a fantastic blueprint for how we can make that vision a reality.
They're proving that we can tackle climate change and promote social equity at the same time. It's a message that needs to be heard by policymakers and community leaders everywhere.
I completely agree. The need for affordable housing is only going to grow in the coming years, and the demand for clean energy solutions is rising right alongside it. Nexys Energy is at the forefront of a movement that's gaining serious momentum.
And I'm so glad we have this platform to share their story and inspire others to follow their lead. It's time to stop just talking about the need for change and start taking action.
Absolutely. So to all you affordable housing property managers listening out there, here's the message. If you're in Connecticut, reach out to Nexys Energy. Learn how you can bring these benefits to your residents.
This is your chance to be a part of something truly impactful. You can make a difference in the lives of your tenants and contribute to a more sustainable future for everyone.
As we've been discussing Nexys Energy and their work, it keeps bringing me back to that central message in the RMI report, this idea that we're living through a decade of unprecedented change in the energy sector.
It really is a remarkable time to be alive. And what's so incredible is that we're not just watching this change happen, we're actively shaping it. Companies like Nexys Energy are out there, making the shift to renewable energy a reality, one community at a time.
It's been fascinating unpacking all of this with you. I think what Nexys Energy is doing here in Connecticut is a real beacon of hope. It shows that we can make meaningful progress on climate change while also making life better for people right now.
I totally agree. It's been really eye-opening to see how they're connecting those global trends in renewable energy to the very real needs of affordable housing communities right here in our state.
And what strikes me is that they're not just offering a quick fix. They've really thought this through. From the innovative financing model to the focus on long-term maintenance and support.
Yeah, that long-term commitment is huge. It shows they're not just in it for the short game. They're really invested in helping these communities thrive in a sustainable way.
And that's what makes it so exciting. They're not just installing solar panels. They're building partnerships. They're fostering community resilience. They're changing the narrative around affordable housing and clean energy.
Absolutely. And, for all you property managers out there listening, I hope you're feeling inspired because this is an opportunity to be a part of something truly special. You can make a real difference in the lives of your residents and contribute to a brighter, more sustainable future for Connecticut.
It's a chance to be a leader, to show that affordable housing can be at the forefront of the clean energy revolution.
So as we wrap up this first episode of the Nexys Energy Podcast, we want to leave you with one final thought. What if this was just the beginning? What if Nexys Energy's success in Connecticut sparked a movement that spread across the entire country?
Imagine a future where every affordable housing community had access to clean, reliable, and affordable solar energy. It's a future where lower energy costs translate to better lives for millions of people, and where clean energy helps protect our planet for generations to come.
That's a future worth fighting for, and it's a future that's within our reach. So if you're ready to be a part of it, head over to the Nexys Energy website, or reach out to their team directly. They're ready to help you get started on your journey to a cleaner, brighter future. Thanks for joining us on the Nexys Energy Podcast.